What up, my G's? In this episode of G Society, we're going to talk about a reality that many experience, but few talk about openly. Does a university degree truly guarantee financial stability in the United States today? We talked with an entrepreneur who did go to a university, study criminology, but quickly understood that the traditional path doesn't always pay the bills. He went through tough times to the point where his electricity was cut off, worked endless hours, left behind relationships with people who did not see his vision, and kept going without giving up. Today, he lives in downtown San Diego, is a family man, owns his own business, has financial stability, and is building new projects with his partner. This episode doesn't romanticize either university or entrepreneurship. It lays bare the current reality, student debt, social pressure, and the true value to think, adapt, and persevere. And on this episode, for those who are studying, for those who dropped out of school, and for those who are still wondering if they're on the right path. Ladies and gentlemen, I present What's up, Eddie? How you doing, brother?
What's up, bro? I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How you been?
You know, I've been good, man.
Yeah.
Been good. Just fucking hard, working hard. Hardly working hard, man. A little bit of both.
That's good, bro. You know, as long as there's work, right?
Yes, sir. Bro.
Yeah.
There's work, man.
Eddie, this is the second time I interview you, bro.
This is the second time, bro, and I appreciate your time, man.
But today, bro, we're diving deeper, bro.
Right,
we're diving
let's get
deeper
it.
into university versus reality, the myth that if you study, you'll do well, personal sacrifices, tough moments, if you study, but for what? And a message for the new generation.
Okay.
So, Eddie, you did go to university, right? And you studied criminology.
I did. I went to a college. I did a total of 3 years and a half. I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice back when I was 23, 24. That's when I finished school. So 3 years, three and a half years that I did it. Yeah, it's hard. It was hard for sure.
It's hard, but you did it, bro.
I did it. Yeah, it was hard.
Okay.
It was really, really hard. But yeah, I did it for 3.5 years. Went to college after I graduated from high school.
Well, that leads me to my first question, Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you realize that although studying is important, it wasn't enough for the life that you wanted to build?
You know, to be honest, like along the way, going to school, right? I was already working in the construction field. Before that, I was working in a warehouse, and I was still going to school. Then I started working in the construction field. And even just getting my feet wet a little bit in the construction field, I started noticing that the money was different. And then what I aspired to go to, right, to where I was going to take my degree, I don't know. I started looking at basically what the money, the income was for people with my degree and how much they're looking at monthly revenue, whatever the case might be. And it wasn't as much as I was expecting, right? And I was already getting close to that, just working construction for other people. So I started getting a hunch of it, right, during school. I would say maybe my second year of school, but you know, stayed the grind, stayed the dedication, and made sure I graduated regardless.
So you kind of saw like there was people maybe making more money in construction than what you were studying for?
100%. I mean, like I said, it was like, you know, just even as a journeyman, the entry point, right? Well, yeah, as an apprentice, really. You know, back then I was already, you know, I mean, back then at the time, I remember an apprentice was making anywhere from like 15 to 16 bucks, right? A correction officer, which I could use to get my degree, I could get a job like where.
Yeah.
A correction officer making 18.
18.
Right? So obviously now the money's different, right?
Yeah.
And a correction officer went to school, whereas like me, I was just an apprentice learning from somebody else. 15 bucks. I'm $3 less than somebody who went to college.
100%. Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy, huh?
Crazy amount.
It's crazy. All right, Eddie, the next topic, bro. And this is the myth that if you study well, you'll do well. Today, we see many people with university degrees and without well-paying jobs.
Right.
Do you think we were sold an idea that no longer applies to the current reality in the United States?
100%. 100%, man. My personal belief, man, is I would say the only thing that you really need, like, school for, right? College, university, whatever you want, I would say. Medical field, that's something that you need a textbuck, right?
Yeah. And it's something that it's never gonna die, you know.
Never gonna die, right?
Medicine,
like,
health.
Yeah, you know, medicine, you know, body, all that stuff. You know, you need to read a book before you cut somebody open. Right? Make sure you don't cut the wrong stomach part. You know, so you got to make sure you're getting the right spot. But outside of that, I think a lot of this, a lot of success really doesn't come from the stuff that you can learn in a book that you can go to school for. More so, a person's grind, person's desire to want to actually, you know, get somewhere. You have a dream. You have, let's say, a dream house, a dream car,
vacation,
dream lifestyle, right? Dream lifestyle,
travel.
all that stuff. Sure, you can go to school, right, and maybe you obtain it, right, to a certain extent. But when you look at the pros and cons, it's like how much money you're going to spend in school, how much time you're going to spend in school, compared to starting to work hard, get your feet wet a little bit, and just build from the bottom up, right?
Yeah.
Without a textbook. So I think, you know, society basically teaches or pushes this narrative of like, even us, bro, to be honest, even us, like sometimes, you know, like growing up, I don't know, I mean, we're in a school together. Hey, you don't go to school, you need to go to school, get your education. Because if you don't get it, you're not going to succeed. You're going to be like these bums over here. You're going to be like these homeless people. Education is so important. I personally believe that narrative is just, it's not inaccurate, bro. Both smarts, hustle, grind, dedication, motivation, you don't teach that. You either have it or you don't have it.
You have it or you don't have it.
You have it or you don't have it, because, you know, you can go to school all you want. You can put your head and your face in the books, but you don't have the dedication and the motivation to do something with that. It's a waste of time.
Right now that you mentioned that you said whether you have it or you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I know when you're on this journey of opening a business or being an entrepreneur like yourself, you go through tough moments.
100%.
100%, right? Okay, so my next question, bro, is you went through periods where there was no money. Your electricity was even cut off.
Yeah.
When you were building your business.
100%.
What kept you going through those times when the easiest option seemed to give up? What kept you going, bro? What kept you,
for sure,
you know, like
for sure
advancing?
at the time, family, for sure. You know, specifically my to be very direct, my kids. But then outside of that is if there's one of my biggest fears, bro, that I have at me personally, is I personally have a fear of failing.
A failure.
Failure is something that I'm stubborn, bro. I'm stubborn. It's failure. I don't accept failure. I accept failing at times, right?
Failing at times.
Not everything's going to go right. Not everything's going to go the way I planned it, right? But I think as long as I keep one foot in front of the other, as long as I keep the same mentality, I got to get out of this.
Yeah.
Right? I will. And I remember at that time, bro, like, again, going back to the stubbornness, right? Going back into making sure that I didn't take no easy way out, no shortcut. Yeah, bro, no money. You know, because at the time, funny story, right? Comes full circle. I had graduated from college, got my college degree. I applied for a couple of departments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, try to apply for different departments, try to get a job as, you know, correction officer, sheriffs, and then to get 3 of them. You know, 3 positions offered for me. And I remember telling my folks, like, I'm not gonna take these.
Wait, so they offer you the positions?
Yeah. I got an offer.
So you applied, and that was after you graduated?
As I graduated, I had applied already. I had gotten the. This was back in 2015. Yeah, 2015. I started my business end of 2015. So it was like in the beginning of 2015. I got the offers, bro. Got the offers. I got the positions. You know, and one of them, the closest one, which was gonna be CDCR up in NorCal, bro. I had already made a deposit for an apartment. Damn. That's how sure I was to like do that, right? That's it. And then one morning, bro, I woke up and I was like, what that lifestyle is gonna be, I want more. I want something different. I don't think I'm gonna get where I want to be doing that, working under somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I want to create my own path and do exactly what I want to do, not to follow somebody's orders. I want to follow my own orders. I want to be the leader.
You want to be your own boss, bro.
I want to be my own boss. I want to be the leader, bro. I don't want to be the follower. And yeah, you know, I remember going back to my folks and I told them like, hey, I'm not taking these jobs. They looked at me like, "Are you fucking stupid? You know,
Yeah.
like, you pinche pendejo. What do you mean? You know, like, whoa, what you talking about? It's just, I'm gonna just fucking give it a shot." And I remember, bro, my first little bag of tools, little taladro, you know, a little couple of little setups and stuff, little ladder.
But at this time, you already working construction. You were still working construction then, right? Because you said you were working construction.
I was working construction, right?
Okay.
So, but mind you, when I was working construction with all these people, whether it's my pops, some electrician guy used to work under, HVAC guy used to work under. Obviously, they have their own tools, right? Like me now,
Yeah.
I have my tools and I have everything that my guys need in order to get the job done. You know, and some of them may not have the stuff that I have, right? To give them to make sure that we knock out the job. So that's where it was, right? So realistically, what I owned was just, you know, a little setup. And I didn't have the necessary tools to really start my own business. But I was like, I'm going to start my own business one way or another.
Yeah.
And, you know, to basically go back to, you know, where your question was, is I didn't have enough, right? To make sure I got I took off as soon as I started my business. So I started building, but as I started building, I didn't have not even the network or the word of mouth.
Yeah.
I didn't have the customers. So I remember not getting clients. Back then, Craigslist, you remember Craigslist?
Yeah.
Back then it was Craigslist. I would post on Craigslist, hey,
Damn.
you know, handyman. Make a bunch of posts, bro.
And I'm pretty sure you got a lot of no's, huh? A lot of you didn't get a lot of work at first.
Didn't get a lot of work at first.
And you didn't give up, bro. Damn.
I didn't get a lot of work at first. And so, you know, I would make like maybe a little, they'll call me for a little job here. Can you hang this door? Pass, you know, $200, $300 like that. Long story short, it just, the money wasn't right. And I remember that month, specifically that month, $0, bro, negative, bro, negative dollars, bro. And I had to pay the light and I tried to push it. And didn't have the money for it. Boom, gets cut off. First, the water got cut off. Then the light gets cut off. And then
So the water and the light.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And then the rent came, bro. The rent came. And I remember calling them, bro. I remember calling those folks and I was like, you know, hey, I have to give me some days. And you know, I'm going through some shit, you know, whatever. And it was the worst. I would say to this day, it's probably the worst feeling I've ever had. But the best thing, the best thing ever happened to me at the same time.
Yeah.
Was feeling hopeless as fuck, bro. Hopeless. Just, you know, I was sitting in my living room with my candles on. And I remember, bro, just tearing up. Just because I was like, damn, I hit, this is rock, at the time for me, it was like, this is rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like I fucked up. I had a golden opportunity to do what I worked and went to school for. And
were you doubting yourself at that time, bro? Whether you did the right thing or not?
Yeah, 100%. I'm not gonna lie, like 100%. Because mind you, is like, you know, I went to school for something, right?
Yeah.
To school for something that like I put a lot of time and effort to get, right? And then when you finally gave it to you, right? It's like someone comes and gives you like, you know, a platter of, you know, you wanted to order barbecue ribs. Someone comes and gives you barbecue ribs, and they're like, you know what? I was thinking about the steak the entire time, and I'm like, we don't have steak here. You're gonna have to get up and go to the other restaurant, you know. So it's like you're like shit, and I just rejected the barbecue ribs, which I wanted in the first place. I think that's what it was, and I remember just feeling not that great about it, but I stuck to my guns. I remember I was tearing up. I remember my mom, bro. Bless mom. Shout out to you. Love you to death. I remember her trying to give me a lending hand. Right? She was like, hey, like I mean, she was struggling in her own ways, right?
Yeah.
She was like, figure out a way to get you some help, get you some money, get you right. And I was like, nope. Nah, don't do that. If I can't help myself, I don't deserve your help. I need to help myself. I'm a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
I put myself in this position. And the same way I know I got myself in this position, I'm going to get myself out of it. I just got to hustle my ass off. God willing, God blessing, bro. Maybe a couple of days after that happened, I got a job. Like a little, at the time it was like a little $5,000-$6,000 job. A little quick bathroom shit, you know. And I remember telling the guy, hey, you know, all right, show me the deposit, mitad.
Yeah.
But the half, started paying the bills. Went, knocked out the job. Boom, got that. And it's little by little, bro. Started climbing. But that day, those days, bro, specifically that specific day when my light got cut off, I said it. I was like, I will never, ever, ever hit rock bottom like this ever again in my life. And I think that was the print, the foundation to what I started becoming. And it just made me hungry. It made me hungry, bro. It made me like, I always say, I mean, I just told my neighbor a couple of days ago, right? When he was telling me like, hey dude, like, how do you do all this? Everything you got going on in your life, you work, you work, I see you working nonstop, you know, you're working on your juice bar, you work in San Diego, you work in Fontana, in LA, you do this, you do that. How do you do it? And I was like, and one, autopilot, just locked in as hell on what I need to do. But two, I always say if I can do that, if I can get myself out of that situation, I can fucking do anything. No matter what you put in front of me. Like, I'll make sure I get that shit done. It might take me some time to figure it out, but I got out of that with nobody's help. I was stubborn enough to be like, I don't want your handouts. I don't need your handouts. I will figure the fuck out. And I have. And if I figure that out, bro, I can figure anything out. Just give me some time. I will become a damn lawyer if need be.
I feel, bro, like what you said right now, I feel that first off, you have a good mentality, strong mentality too. Yeah. Because a lot of people would have given up already. In your situation. But what you mentioned right now, that since you already lived that, bro, and you got yourself out of that hole. Yeah. If you ever in that hole again, bro, you already went through it once. You already know you get yourself out of it. So that's why you got more experience and even a stronger mentality than before.
I would say, like, I wouldn't, this maybe happened maybe a couple years ago. I wouldn't, it wasn't a same hole, right? Mm-hmm. It was a situation where, long story short, I've invested a lot of money in the project. Mind you, now, like, I do really big projects, not small projects. Now I don't do like $5 project for me is small. So I do big projects. And long story short, what happened with that, which was my mistake, I totally understand. I invested a lot of my money in it. Boom, 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 boom. Customer wasn't, a client wasn't really funding the project when they should have. So, funded the project, and I ended up in numbers that I'm not familiar with for a while. For me, I have a certain mentality as to where I like my numbers to be as far as, financially. And anything lower than that, I feel like in my mind, it's like I'm in hot waters. I'm not in a good position. And so I was there. Like I said, it was different, right? Mm-hmm. But mind you, going back to what you're saying, it's different now. It's like if I got myself out of that, right, I make sure I'll never get close to that. So I'm not going to put myself in a position to do that in the first place. But now I found like a spot where I would say, I feel like I make myself feel like I'm there, or even though I'm not nowhere near there, right? But I made myself feel that way, and it turned out fine because it resolved itself. Customer along the way, it took them months, but they ended up paying back what they owed and came back. But just maybe for like a week or two, I was like, all right, these are uncomfortable numbers. Which again, that was fine. And in all reality, I being honest, I was totally fine, but I don't think that would be one.
Another thing too, though, you're a risk taker, bro. And in business, sometimes it could go bad. Sometimes you have losses.
That was a risk.
That's the risk.
Like that was a risk, bro.
That it takes.
That was a risk. That, like, for example, like if we were looking into, again, going back, not talking specifically about the situation, but I was looking into going to court with them, right? Because I was like, hey, this job is done, right? And I need to get paid. Yeah. Right. I funded your project the entire time. And, they were kind of like, well, we got to look at our funds and we got to calculate whatever, yada, yada, yada. Excuse me. And I was like, well, it's done. Permits are here. Everything's done. And again, it took them a little bit longer, but we got it resolved. But to basically go back to you, it's like, it was a risk, right? Guy could have said, I'm not paying you. We're going to court. That's going to take what, a year, 2 years? Yeah. I'm in the hole for thousands of dollars, right? And now I'm in a terrible position, right? As long as I pick up more work, I'm fine. Like, again, being realistic, I was okay, but that okay position can turn around.
Can turn around quick and bite you in the ass.
And bite me in the ass, right?
Yeah.
1000%. You know, you might think that you're good, you know, I'm good, like I'm solid, whatever, and then boom, something happens, you know, and it turns around that quick. So, but again, luckily it resolved itself. But you know, never again, bro. Like I always use that as a motivation. I tell people all that all the time. If you can hit rock bottom, I always suggest to anybody, you know what your rock bottom is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in life, I feel like, that wants to be successful needs to hit a certain
rock bottom at a certain time in their life, at a certain point,
a rough time. Because if you're given a silver plate, you're gonna get used to golden food.
And you know what? I feel that a lot of kids that grew up here in America, bro, they're giving silver plates, and that's why. But we'll talk about it another time, you know. But Eddie, this journey of entrepreneurship, along the way, you start losing people. So obviously, you have to make personal sacrifices.
Yep.
Now you mentioned that you had to leave people behind because they didn't share or believe in your vision. How costly can it be to pursue a vision when no one else sees it?
I mean, you said it yourself, right? I mean, I've said it. You know, it's like it costs us sacrifice. Sometimes people don't see your vision, bro. Sometimes you have.
Most of the time, they won't see your vision, bro.
Yeah. Most of the time, they won't. There's people that will be there and root you. I always feel like you'll have more people root you during your success than root you during.
Oh yeah, when you're coming up.
When you're coming up,
yeah.
Right? And you have people that will that won't see your vision, right? Again, it's you know, at a certain time in my period, I had certain visions and certain aspirations for certain things. And you know, at the time, certain people didn't agree with me on certain visions. And sure, I'll be one to say is like I made decisions based on that, you know, and I failed at sometimes. Right? I tried to. One of them was trying to get into Bitcoin early. I could have got into Bitcoin early. I didn't for specific reasons, and I regret it. Well,
you better get into it right now, bro. You know, the once it starts going up again.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but by the time I could have bought for like 2,000, 3,000. It was
I'm the same way, bro. I'm the same way. I regret it. You know.
Yeah. But basically, you know, you'll start noticing. I think there's a good quote that this guy that I met in Washington gave me, and he was like, he told me when you're, and it's true, thousandaires. You want to be a thousandaire. You have a family. You'll have a 9 to 5. Come home, see the kids, see the wife, see whatever it is. You want to be 100,000aire? You can still have a family. You're just gonna see them less. You're gonna be home a little bit less. You're gonna be present a little bit less, but you're gonna be there. If you want to be a millionaire, it'll take you a while to have a family because you're so locked in on what you're trying to do, where you're trying to get to, that you're just not gonna have the time. So I remember him telling me, he's like, lock in on what your goals are. Once you lock in, everything else comes. But lock in on what you want, and you're gonna see that people will start falling off. And sure enough, right? When I started logging in onto a lot of this work, aspirations for business, stuff like that, I started seeing some people fall off. Man, like sometimes people, you know, care about seeing friends and family, stuff like that. I love my friends, I love my family, you know, but they're grown-ass people. I'm a grown-ass man. I know sometimes I have stuff to do. And it's like my direct family, you know, the people who depend on me, those are my priorities, right? So everything outside of that, it's not, doesn't bother me. They fall off, you know, they'll fall off during my success, they fall off during my downfall, but you know, definitely to get to where you want to get to, it does take sacrifice. It takes time, which is one thing we don't get back. Time. That will take sacrifice time. And you sacrifice people sometimes. Not like, you know, you're going to throw them off the hill, but you do, man. And sometimes winning the race, you run so fast that you turn around and you notice you left everyone behind and it gets lonely. You wish you had a competitor right behind you, but you're so fast ahead and you're so ahead, bro, that you turn around and everyone's in the dust. So, you know, it might not be the best ideal thing, but you're there at the finish line and you're succeeding. And so I guess, you know, it gets lonely sometimes, right? But you gotta just come to fruition and understand that, not fruition, come to terms that if some people don't see your vision of where you want to be, that's okay. It's totally fine. Not a big deal. You know, just keep striving for what you want and don't let those people hold you back.
Yeah.
Don't worry about other people's feelings. Worry about your feelings and your success. For sure.
Well, because at the end of the day, bro, it's what do you really want? You know, I mean, look at you, like pretty successful, bro. So I'd rather do what you're doing than if I gotta leave people behind, I gotta leave them behind.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, and I feel like if those people are really there for you, right? If those people are meant to be there for you, those people are cheering you on. They'll be there. They'll look at you from afar and be like, okay, you know what? This person he's running the race, right? Let him do his thing. I'll figure it out. I'll be here. You know, and then when you succeed, they're there to cheer you on. You know, and along the way, if they're there to push you forward, great. And if they're not, they take a step back, wait for you to get to the finish line, great. You know, I'll be at the finish line. I hope you're there to help me out to give me the freaking celebration hut. And if you're not, that's totally fine, dude. Mm-hmm. You know, again, I'm gonna sleep perfectly well knowing that I did what I had to do to succeed. Because I choose success at all times over friendship, and
yeah,
and even family, dude. Family, yeah, everything.
Yeah.
And
that's another thing. Yeah, family too, bro.
Family is a big one. Family is a big one because you know we're Mexicanos, bro. You know, we're Mexicanos, and there's a lot of traditional beliefs in our families, right? And in our not our families, but our culture. Culture has certain beliefs, right? I know, like, for example, the same thing is sometimes in our beliefs, right? It's like, you know, the husband's a provider, the wife is maybe a stay-at-home mom, or, you know, taking care of kids, whatever the case might be. But income's a part of, like, what if that person is bringing you down? What if your family members themselves are bringing you down? Will you stick to your I guess, quote unquote, you know, traditional roots? Be like, well, if they're telling me I gotta follow this path because my parents saying I gotta follow this path, should I do that, or should I genuinely stick to what I really want and believe in, and saying, hey, no, you guys are wrong. I don't care what you guys say. I don't care about this traditional shit. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna follow my own path and do what I gotta do. I think it's important.
Well, that's when you gotta leave them behind and move on, bro. You know.
Facts.
Oh yeah, Eddie. My next topic is studying. Yes, but for what? Although today you earn money outside of your study field, going to a university had to leave you with something, bro. What do you think university does provide, even if it doesn't guarantee you wealth?
It does provide knowledge. It does provide knowledge. I will say that. I will say, I mean, even when you sometimes go to, I mean, most colleges will like require your prereqs. Mm-hmm. The prerequisites. After you do the prerequisites, then you go into like your main trade, main field that you're trying to study. I think they do provide knowledge for sure, but you know, I know we're talking about it earlier with the AI, with AI being a big thing now. It's I just don't see the necessity of colleges nowadays, bro.
Yeah,
like I said, there's certain things that I see it for, but I think when it comes to knowledge, yes, of course, knowledge is power. Knowledge is very powerful, you know. But now more than ever, knowledge is easily accessible. Knowledge is you know, before it used to be at the palm of your hands with a few types away, right? And they used to give you broad knowledges that you had to research and stuff like that. Now you can get really accurate knowledge. I mean, knowledge as best as this AI thing can give you. Now, do I feel like then a university can give you the same knowledge? I mean, sure, but why am I going to pay a university, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's the thing, huh? Like
for
a lot of
something
people,
that I have Chat GTP and I pay $20 a month. Bro.
Yeah,
it's like I can get the same thing. Well, that's why universities right now are, scared of this thing that's going on, and they're developing programs and stuff like that to be able to scan people's articles, right? That have any sort of imprint that it was generated through ChatGPT or through any sort of AI thing. Where again, it's like, so the fact that a university.
You want another drink, Eddie? Take another one.
Thank you. So I'll say when these universities when these universities are scared of what the future is looking like and what people are doing, then that tells you, right, that they know.
Yeah.
They know, they got to deal with the whole different monster of
nowadays
information.
We got a lot of platforms where you can learn. YouTube, like there's a lot of stuff where people,
But here's the one thing that I'm a strong believer of is with platforms. Certain platforms are great, but other ones you will get misdirected and wrong information, misinformation, I guess. Some, like there's like, if you type in a question on YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, you're gonna get 20 different videos, right, of people explaining something. Hey, how do I change the fuse on this car? How do I scale this electrical panel? How do I do this? How do I do that? You're gonna get so many videos, right? Or so many people with different opinions, different mechanism, different way of doing it. But you can ask one thing, right? You can ask this one thing that a lot of people have on their phones now, right? Which is AI. You ask it, and it will give you things that's so accurate, and it'll consistently keep telling you the same thing. So it won't change. It won't say, "Hey, you know what? Like, oh, do your scaling this way." It'll guide you exactly the same. The only way, exactly. So it's like, I'd rather listen to that than listen to a bunch of people, right? Different opinion, and who knows? Maybe out of the 20, one of them's correct, the other one isn't. Maybe one of them is exactly the route that I'm trying to go with, and the other one isn't, right? But I think, again, 100% knowledge is power. But now we have, now more than ever, we have knowledge at our disposal. I just think people need to know how to use it.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think universities, they give you knowledge, right?
But that's the thing too, Eddie. I feel that even though we have all this stuff, at our disposal, people will still lag, or they won't take the time to study something, like.
No, not at all.
Right?
No. I think like, I think, I don't know. People like, I guess that's the fun part, right? I think like, AI can make things so easy as well, right? To your point, I think when you go to university, you got to actually sit down and read a book.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're much of a reader or not,
I wasn't before, but I've been reading quite more often. I like it, bro. Like,
it's cool.
Yeah.
I like reading. I read for, I like bios and motivational books. But again, when it comes to learning on a book, I'm more hands-on, right? But if I got to read 3 pages, that's my point, 3 to 4 pages on, just again, scaling, right? And learning how to scale something. And I can ask my phone just for a second, it'll give me the answer in 15 seconds. I mean, what is a university really providing? I get it. You're providing information 100%. And I guess you're providing an experience, right? That you'll take for the rest of your life. But it depends on the purpose of what the university is trying to, what the purpose of that experience, what is it going to serve you? It's going to serve you the experience of like, hey, I went to college. I gained my knowledge during this and all that stuff. I worked hard to get here. Great. But if you're there strictly for, to learn, right? A certain trade, you can learn a lot of trades, just on your phone, just on the internet, really.
Do you regret going to university, Eddie? Or do you think that it helped you along the way to get to where you're at?
That's a good question. That's the first time anybody's asked me that. That was the first time anybody's asked me that. I think, because
I believe what you believe, bro, but I do believe that it has to leave you with something, It could be personal experience.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I would say, I gained knowledge, right? But mind you, back when I graduated, that was 2015, 14, 15, somewhere around
10 years ago.
Years ago, bro. And it's like AI wasn't a thing, right? AI wasn't a thing. But if, statistically, data shows now that there's less and less people going to universities nowadays.
I believe that, bro.
Data shows that. Data shows that less and less people are starting to go to universities because, again, the internet is becoming so expanding so big, right? And that AI and all this thing is like, you just have all this information that you could obtain without having to talk to a professor. But to answer your question, do I regret it? I don't regret it. I would say I don't regret it because, you know, I had a personal experience there. I remember I worked so hard to get that degree, bro. Like, same thing, 0 hours of sleep. And I would work.
So you actually study, bro? Or?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, man. There was no ChatGPT to help me back then, bro. None of that.
I'm not saying that, though, because a lot of people, you know, when they go to university, some don't study. They just go to party, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, bro. None of that, man. I was too locked in.
That's good.
I have a tendency of, like, if I need to lock in, I will. Sometimes, like, you know, I don't really like to half-ass things. Sometimes, right? Sometimes I am tired. I'm a human being. I do get tired. But sometimes I lock in. I mean, sometimes. Most of the time I end up locking in, and when I lock in, it's like, that's just, I have tunnel vision. I know where I need to get to, and I'm gonna get there one way or another. So everything outside of that, outside noise doesn't bother me. You know, I mean, my folks, my family, you know, anybody would really basically tell me, a partner, anybody would tell me, hey, you're hard to reach sometimes. We've been calling you, we've been texting you, where you at? You're missing. I'm like, I'm locked in. I got shit to do. I got shit to do, you know? So at that time, I was working, remember I told you before I started working construction.
Yeah.
But before I was working construction, I was working at a warehouse. That was the first 2 years of my college. I was going to college. And I remember I would go to work at 6 p.m. I had a night shift. I would go to work at 6 p.m., get out at 6 a.m.
12 hours, bro?
12 hours. 10 to 12 hours for sure. 10 to 12 hours.
You were slaving.
Like if I bro, man, Jesus Christ. Like I remember when I would get out at 4 a.m, bro, heaven. And I'll tell you why. When I would work 12 hours, bro, 12-hour days, I would get out at 6 a.m. and my school was in San Bernardino, right? So I had to drive. My job was in Riverside. I would drive from Riverside to San Bernardino. During that time, it was, you know, I'd catch a little bit of traffic, so it'd take me about 40 minutes. My classes started at 8.
Damn.
So I would drive, like, let's say by the time I got out of the parking lot, the traffic to get out, all that, it'd be like 6:30. I'd get to the school campus by like 7:20, 7:30. And my class started at 8, right? So sometimes, bro, like, I remember, bro, like, I would get there. I'm like, oh, man, I got 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Just
20-minute nap.
just out, bro. Out for like 20, 30 minutes at my alarm. Get up, run to my class. Bro, I would go to school from 8 to like 8 to like 2, 3. Like I had obviously, you know, different classes, right? So it's like maybe I'll have like 15, 20, 30 minute like intervals in between. So I'd go eat or whatever. Sometimes I was so tired, bro, I'll go take a nap. But and since I didn't, so mind you, I would get out by 3. Let's say, you know, hypothetically speaking, I normally get out at 3, right? Like last class was at 3. Now I had to drive from San Bernardino all the way home to Paris, right? That's about an hour something drive.
With traffic, bro, because there's a lot of traffic
I'd drive all the way home. I'd get home by like 4:30, take an hour nap, wake my ass up, go to work.
Damn.
I did that for a while, bro. And I would just sleep at times when I was able to take a nap, bro. Like, you know, like sometimes, to be honest, I would like I'd get ahead of my job.
Yeah.
Putisa, bro, just like smash that, blah, blah, blah. And I'd go like, you know, I had a forklift, bro, like one of those little I think they call it turrets. I never ever heard of them. They're like these forklifts that they fit in an aisle, and they lift, right? You get a pallet and you lift.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Turret, yeah. So I used to drive those. Bro, I would be so tired, bro. Hey, shout out to Harbor Freight for letting me do this shit. But I would just stack my shit, bro. It's like I'll get all my pallets, get all them done, and I would, once I get my head like right, so like start at 6. I had to make sure I get all the pallets for these people by 7. Bro, I bang out like 30 minutes, bro, hauling ass. By the time I was done, I had 30 minutes spares. I would lift my forklift all the way to the top, bro. Just
Knock out for like 30 minutes.
Knock out for like 30 minutes. Bro, it sucked.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, I'm so proud of that experience with college.
Okay.
And I think like knowing again that, remember how I talked about like the worst thing that motivates me is
failing.
Failure, right? But the experience that happened to me, like just hitting rock bottom. But I think that this is the second one. Is like knowing that is like, hey, I was running on no sleep, and I was dedicated to wanting to finish college. And I still had to get some bread. Right? I had to get some, so I had to figure it out one way or another.
You're tough, bro. That's what's up,
man. I tried to, man, definitely for sure.
Eddie.
Yep.
Last but not least, bro.
Sure.
A message for the new generation. For young people who are currently working, studying, getting into debt, or thinking about opening up a business, what real advice, not motivational advice, but real advice can you give them from your personal experiences? What can you tell them, bro? Because you went through hardships.
Not to motivate.
They're probably going through it right now, and they probably feel like giving up. But from your personal experience, bro, what can you tell them for them not to give up?
Trust the process. Yeah, like the old Sixers. The trust the process. I know we talked about this when we talked about the juice bar, right? It's like you gotta obsess with what you want. Whatever you want, whatever you see yourself in a couple of years, whatever is, just obsess with it. Know that know that success sometimes is lonely. Know that the path is gonna suck, right? Not everyone is gonna agree with you. It's not gonna be easy, but if you genuinely just want better for yourself, just do it. Just stick to the grind. Stick to the grind no matter what. Like, know that every morning you wake up and you try to do a little bit more than what you did the day before. Wake up every morning, try to be a little bit better than the day you were before. And as long as you keep doing that consistently, you're gonna notice that even something that looked impossible, right, a few years ago, you're fucking doing it. You just keep doing the same shit. You wake up, you have a hard time waking up at 5 a.m, right? And you wake up at 7. Okay, set up your alarm for 6:59. Set up your alarm for 6:58 the next day. 6:57.
Start going slowly.
Start doing it slowly.
Yeah.
You don't have to wake up at 5. But then next thing you know, 60 days down the line, you're like, oh shit, I can wake up at 5 now without my alarm.
You're probably not waking up at 4:55.
Exactly, bro. So it's like you start doing these things, you start changing these habits. And again, it's like you just gotta trust the process of where you see yourself. Set up a goal. Like, it's like, I want to be here. And if that's where you want to be, then just take the baby steps. It's not gonna happen overnight. Both success and structure, dedication does not happen overnight. It's a lie. Unless you hit the lotto, unless you come from, again, a silver plate, success and all that is not gonna come overnight. It comes to those that work hard. And there's an old saying of like, what is it? Hard work beats talent. And it does. You can have all the talent in the world. You could have all the, you can have all the smart, you can have all the money in the world, right? I come and tell you, hey, here's $10,000. Use them as you will. You might be like, fuck, I got $10,000. I'm going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good weekend. And you get to somebody else, like, here's $10,000. And they're like, you know what? These $10,000, I'm going to try to open up a business. And people are going to be like, $10,000, you can't open it with $10,000. Bet I can. Again, it might take me a little bit longer. I may not have this, make this happen.
It might not happen quick, but it will.
If I make the right steps, or make the right decisions, I'll make it happen. And so, like, my suggestion to the youth and everybody is just, again, just grind it out, trust the process, understand that it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. No one's going to lie. Everyone's going to lie to you and tell you it's going to happen overnight. Just work hard at it and then just believe that it'll happen. And if once you put that in your mind so hard that it's like, I'm going to be successful, you will be successful. One way or another. Don't matter. But just obsess with it and it'll happen. For sure.
You hearing that, guys? You hearing what Eddie's saying? Hard work beats talent. Well, Eddie, thank you for this interview, bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
Before we take off, Eddie, do you want to send somebody a shout out, bro?
I want to give a shout out to my family, my friends. This one. All right. My family, my friends, my kids, Everybody, I love you guys. All you guys are my bread and butter. All you guys are the ones that keep me going, keep me motivated. I wouldn't do it without you guys. Love you guys. Thank you guys.
Eddie, I wish you the best in your
Appreciate you,
future
brother.
project, you know, with the juice bar and stuff. And well, there you have it, folks. This is another episode of G Society. We just saw an entrepreneur right here, how he went through hard times, but he never gave up. And like he said, hard work beats talent. But whatever you guys are doing, as long as you guys are doing something positive, if you guys believe that school is the way, keep going to school, get your stuff, you know. If you're trying to open a business, do it. Doesn't matter what people say or think.
Just do it.
Do it. Just do it.
Just
Believe in
do
yourself.
it.
That's the number one thing.
Yeah, facts. No matter what, just believe in yourself. Just do it. Get your ass up. Don't matter. You don't need to be a grinder and be a hustler. You don't need money for it. You don't need a fat wallet. You just need dedication. You just need motivation, and find motivation within yourself, and you'll succeed one or another.
Well, Eddie, again,
My guy.
salud.
Appreciate it. Salud, bro.
And my G's, y'all stay blessed. Have a good night. Peace out.